Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Piofiore 1926, continuing the Alternativa route, Gil's portion of said route. I have my bird with me, which is why you can hear obnoxious chattering every once in a while, because he's talking to my chin as I talk. Anyway, oh good lord, I don't remember where we were. Here, clearly at the Lao Shu base, because I could not record yesterday because my allergies were kicking my ass. So that was not fun. But anyway, we're here back. Finally going to continue where we were. It doesn't make a difference to you, but it makes a difference to me. So anyway, base. Hey. As I stepped into the corridor, Gil called out to me. How's your research coming along? I've been doing what I can, but despite the various places I went in search of new information, including my continued visits to the library, I hadn't managed to find anything significant. I see. Well, I'll come by tomorrow. Let's go out after breakfast. Thank you, Gil. It's funny that they word it like that. Like, I'll come by tomorrow. Because it's almost like if you were at the Lao Shu's, right, if you were staying with Yang or Orlok, you'd be here and he'd say I'd come by and you're thinking, okay, here. Or like, even if you were staying with Dante Nicola, it'd be like, oh, okay, but we're staying with you, so that phrasing is weird. I appreciate that they didn't make this scene different. He just says, I'll come by, and this is a general scene no matter who you're staying with. Because otherwise, like I said, it'd be annoying. You're like, oh, I can't skip this. We read the whole thing, but it's one word, like one line that's different. But it is funny since we're staying with him. I'll come by tomorrow. From your room to mine? Anyway. We now had clarity on who the Phantom was, but we still didn't have the means to stop him. Right, all my gay dreams came true in this, like the Phantom is in love with Henry. So I'm just going to continue reading the Phantom like Henry, because I just figure that Sebastiano might, like, since he was clearly in love with Henry, I swear to God, I cannot, after like 2 days, handle how funny that was, because I was just joking, like, so, like, was he in love with Henry? And then, like, maybe his beloved is Henry. Wait, what? Back it up. Game! That might not be it, but the fact that the game just went there and threw that out, I was like, that's awesome. I'm here for this. Sometimes I spoil things in games by guessing, but other times I guess things like this, and I actually don't expect the game to go there. Like, I was not expecting that. I might have been secretly hoping, but it's not anticipating. But anyway, we're gonna just continue reading it as if he's Henry, just because Henry's clearly dead then, and we still don't 100% know, but like I'm going with like the stronger leaning is that this is Sebastiano and whatnot. And then, we'll just go with that he loved Henry so much he's now emulating him by talking like him. And my volume just seems really loud despite the fact that it's not. Anyway, I hope the situation will improve soon. The next morning, I was in the archives with Gil, reading as many books as we could. Say, Gil, have you found anything interesting at all? Afraid not. Gil slipped the librarian a sum of money in exchange for access to the archives today, as opposed to threatening. It was also to buy the librarian's silence. There aren't very many books about the town, but there are a lot about the church. Reading through all of them felt endless. But there was no point in skipping over any clues that could be of help to us. We left the archive just as the library closed. With nothing to show for the effort. Even though we didn't find anything, I feel like it must be somewhere in the library. Let's come back tomorrow. Are you sure, Gil? Are you sure, Gil? Second. Uh-oh. Yeah, because I think this is a shared. Like, ooh, Lee! Our profits haven't improved much over the last year. Lee and Roberto basically have the same fucking bitchy voice. It's just an attitude. tone. That's it. Then again, given what happened, we're lucky to have any profit at all. Considering the circumstances, I believe we're in a more fortunate position. Yang only snickered. May I remind you that the Lao Shu would be in a far worse situation without me? There's a reason I'm your second in command. I'm sure you would agree, Yang. Aren't you the confident one, Li? Yang seemed to be amused, so I pressed on more boldly. I've gotten quite used to working under you. Oh, hi. Phrasingly. My brain is still on the Sebastiano's in love with Henry thing, so, like, everything is just gonna come out wrong now. Wouldn't you say? I'm more than just the second in command at the Lao Shu. Oh my god, Li. Are you propositioning Yang? Because, okay. Something's seriously wrong with me today. Oh, I love it. That's not Yang. It sounded like a cackle, so I went with it. Good God. I can't laugh in an Irish accent, or whatever the hell this accent is. Yang's shoulders shook with laughter. This is my way of telling him that I plan to stay with the Lao Shu. Yang must have read between the lines, but he didn't object. Which meant he didn't mind my staying. I suppose I don't mind the situation here. I couldn't put into words why I decided to remain here with Yang. 'Cause he's hot? But there was nothing wrong with that. Anyway. Are you sure, Gil? Yeah, we don't exactly have much time until the Phantom's deadline. Gil looked back at the library and shook his head. As Gil and I made our way through the streets, a person suddenly tripped in front of me. Are you all right? I hurriedly rushed over and crouched down next to him to make sure he was okay. I've lost everything! I have no future! None at all! The man was collapsed on the ground. His tears flowed freely and unrestrained. That's literally how it feels sometimes when you have to wake up on Monday, huh? You just want your tears flow freely and unrestrained. How will I be happy now? How can I possibly live? Hey, you're from the church, aren't you? I've seen you before. What should I do? I responded, I love the fact that there's a choice here, but the choice is the only option. Like, what's the point? Game. It's not even like, well, that's the right option. Don't ever choose the other one, no matter what you do. But it's like, what is the point of putting... Listen, I get it. In sometimes in Otome games is going on, you're like, we have to put a choice in here, even if it doesn't make a difference, just to make you feel like it's more than just a static visual novel, right? Where it's like, okay, you want some kind of choice, you want something happening, but it's like, we've got the meanwhile stories. So, like, if static visual novels did that, where at least you're kind of interacting as opposed to just clicking a button, but like this, we just did a meanwhile. You didn't need to do this. You could have just told the guy. I mean, I don't know if on other scenes there's going to be another option, but right now this seems a little pointless. But there's still hope, I guess. It's the only option. I responded, pick my choice of words. There's still hope? There's still hope? There's still hope? I mean, it's not even a different way of saying it. You may have lost something important to you, but there's still hope. You still have your life, and no one knows what the future holds. Those of us playing this game kind of do. I mean, in reality. Not in the game lore, but The man stared at me quietly. Please, shall we? Right. I nodded in response. Please come to the church when you have a chance. I'm sure the sisters will be able to offer you more support to lead you to your answer. The church blew up though, girl. And with that, I stood up and returned to Gil's side. I love how Gil is like normally like really cool with other people, and this time he's like, come on, let's just get away from this guy. Like, I looked back again as we walked, hoping that the man was all right. He was still crouched on the ground, watching us as we walked away. Like, I'm starting to feel like that's slightly suspicious. You know what I mean? Someone tripped and I crouched down. Oh my god, we're getting stabbed. Okay. No. But, I wonder. Following day, Gil and I returned to the library early in the morning. There weren't many people inside yet since we came in just as it opened. As we set off toward the archives. Unbelievable! Oh, it's Emilio. Okay. I wasn't Emilio! Sorry. I didn't know who was talking, so. I turned toward the sound and saw Emilio looking on in disbelief. Okay. Unbelievable. And then this look. Is not at all what I expected from Emilio. He's going through some shit right now. You two are quite persistent. He appeared out of nowhere again, but I was starting to get used to it. Also, Emilio is like turning like what is unbelievable. You're persistent. He looks more like he's trying to you know what I mean? This is just the anti-Emilio. Emilio, are you okay? Are you going through puberty or some shit? Like, what is with the attitude? The look on your face is like you're over our shit and you can't believe we're here and like, you know what I mean? Like the attitude certain characters get. Let's just sweetie, what's going on? Are your mom and dad fighting again? Like, so, you knew we were searching down here? Well, I did assume you'd not be satisfied with the existing method to break the seal. And now he's back to his normal self, but he's like scoffing at us before. As much as I'd like to commend you for seeking the answer without asking me, did it ever dawn on you? Did it ever dawn on you? Oh. Did it ever dawn on you that you might try asking me again? Would you tell us if we did? It is difficult to say. I cannot divulge what must be kept a secret, nor am I in a position to assist you fully. I suppose so. Emilio, what are you playing at? I let out a sigh and Emilio smiled. He's like, did you ever think you could ask me? Would you tell us? Maybe. But no, but maybe. Who knows? You could have asked, though. Like, he's just, annoyed that we didn't ask him. Spacey, you mustn't mind my habit of talking to myself. Augustine's Confessions is an interesting read. Confessions, an autobiographical work of Aurelius Augustine. Augustine? Oh, whatever. Better known as Augustine or Augustine, pronunciation, accent, whatever, of Hippo. It recounts his journey from a sinful youth. Whoa, I skipped that. Sorry. To his awakening to the teachings of God. It had a strong influence on writers through the Middle Ages. Okay. I do hope no one heard what I just said. I should be going. It worries me to be away from the church for too long. Thank you, Emilio. He told us exactly where to go. Have you ever read this book? You should try. Emilio, God, thank God we picked up on shit. Anti-fascist ousted from a chamber of deputies. Anti-fascists ousted. But that is so hard. There's too many S's in that. The fascist party had kept to Mussolini's ideals and ousted many politicians from office. It seems a new law was enacted to revoke the seats held by anti-fascists in the lower house. Yes, and that means anyone but the fascists are considered illegal within Parliament. That sounds a little like a dictatorship. Just a little bit, maybe. No, that's not very democratic. All opposing parties had been abolished, and no new parties could be established. The current events were matching the information we obtained, but fortunately that wasn't a good thing. Members of the Senate are appointed by the king, but he himself is in support of fascism. The only ones who could challenge the fascists were those elected to the chamber, but it seemed even that was no longer possible. There's other methods, but I'm just saying they're very violent. And the secretary of the Italian Communist Party who spoke out against Mussolini was arrested under suspicion of breaking the law. Ah, you mean the law that was established just before he was arrested? An underhanded move, if you ask me. And the newspaper published that Mussolini had gained the support of the royals, the military, and influential business leaders. And the article concluded with expectations that his power would be further strengthened. And I suppose the church will be added to the list of Mussolini's supporters soon. At the next election, the fascist party will become the majority party overseeing parliament. Dante, isn't it about time? You have that dinner tonight with the Routinis. You're right. And please have the car brought around. Thank you, Emilio. He smiled and walked away without another word. I found it! Augustine's Confessions. It took a long time to finally find the book in the stacks. Yeah, because I bet they aren't alphabetized. I'm gonna guess they're not using the Dewey Decimal System up in here, okay? There's nothing going on. There's no organization. You can't just flip open the card catalog to find what you need. Let me just tell you something. You see all the people, old people like me, and older, not just older, like talking about like, well, if we used if we wrote in cursive and only had manual transmission, we'd cripple the whole Zoomer generation, whatever. No, you know what's going to cripple like a majority of the population? Going back to having to search books and card catalogs. There are some of us that grew up with that are like, no, please God, don't. I would be. It was like, that's the only way to save your life is to figure out how to fight. Nope, I'm fucked. I'm dead. Because it was so hard. So hard. Oh, listen. Sometimes the old ways aren't the good ways, okay? Thank God for Google. Like, you know. Oh, and just like, I need to find a book. Let me look it up in the computer system as opposed to let me whip out the card catalog and then there's oh my fucking God. I'm sure if I had to do it now, like being old, I'd be like, oh, okay. But when you're a kid trying to do that, you're like, I just can't fathom this. It's like you're speaking Chinese to me. I don't understand what's happening here. You know what I mean? This is the worst. The worst. I wonder what happened to all those, like, card catalog, like, shelves. You know what I mean? Like, that's like useless furniture. Like, did they recycle the wood and turn it? Does somebody have one of those in their house that there are people that come in and they're like, the hell is this shit? And they're like, look, it's just these tiny little drawers that are barely big enough to fit anything. Like, actually, those would be kind of good to organize your socks and underwear. You know what I mean? You just need little drawers. You're like, Marie Kondo, roll up your underwear and stick. It's an underwear catalog now. Sock catalog. You know what I mean? You don't have to go digging through your drawer of socks to find the pair that you want. They're just all lined up in these little, like, drawer stacks. Look, I kind of want one of those now. I kind of want an old, like, freaking card catalog piece of furniture just to find a creative way to freaking use it. You know what I mean? Organize your soap or something. You know? Or little bar soaps that you steal from hotels. Anyway. Took a long time to finally find the book in the stacks. I pulled it from the bookshelf, feeling my heart race as I gazed upon the cover. Hey, did you hear that just now? I thought I heard something, but I don't know what it could be. Steal that book if we gotta run, girl. Gil carefully examined the bookshelf where I had found the book. Oh, I thought someone was coming after us. Oh my God, did we just Scooby-Doo find a secret door? He shifted the other books around, pushed on the bookshelf, touching here and there. I just heard a click. I heard it much more clearly this time. Gil pulled on the bookshelf and a portion of it swung open. We literally found a goddamn Scooby-Doo door. Holy shit. Okay, I frickin' love this game. I love our group. I love that we're the Scooby Gang, like the 1926 version, the prequel. Like, who's Scooby-Doo in this scenario? We're definitely not Velma. I'm sorry, we're not bright enough to be Velma. We'd have to be. Oh, we're Scooby-Doo, aren't we? Oh, god damn, we are. We can't be Daphne. I know, well, everyone, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at the characters. I'm trying to figure out who's who. was like, who's... Oh, well, Gil has to be the Fred, because he's the closest to the himbo that we have. Definitely the Fred. I was going to call Yang the Daphne. Hmm. Oh, God. Wait, are we Scrappy? Ah, son of a bitch. I don't think there's enough freaking characters for all of us, but like, whatever. Are we Scooby Dumb? And behind the little door was a stone tablet? Man, that's some fucking ancient writing over there. Gil reached out slowly and touched it. He brushed some of the dust off the surface, which revealed some inscriptions. Oh, is it like the cartridge that we stick in the font and then it like... So you've been lying this whole time! For a year, you made me think I had to have sex with Dante, and meanwhile, there was just a stone key over here. It looks like Latin. I wondered how long it would take to decipher. There's got to be a Latin dictionary here somewhere. Let's go find it. Doesn't one of these chuckle fucks know Latin? Somebody's got to know Latin. What game were we playing where somebody was like, I learned Latin just because, in case it ever came back? You know what I mean? What was I watching? What was I doing where that came up? I just remember that, like, a character or a person or somebody saying that I learned it just in case it ever came back. Made a comeback. I think it was a joke, obviously, but, like, I don't remember what it was on. Huh. Anyway. We went through the inscriptions one by one, and after an hour, we were able to identify some of the words. We're going to tell them, oh my god, guys, we found this tablet, and it was inscribed in Latin, and it took us like 4 hours, and then someone's going to be like, you could have just brought it to me. I know how to read Latin. Could have called me. Send me a text, whatever. Carrier pigeon. Keepers of the grave. Maiden. Keepers of the grave. Land. If thou seekest hid treasure, this might be it. We finally found what we were looking for. I mean, it doesn't look like that much writing on it. To behold the Lamb of God. Sprinkle. I love how they spelled it in like ye olde English, because that is not how anybody in the world spells sprinkly. Like, there's too many letters in that sprinkle. Anyway, sprinkled chosen blood upon the altar, rested upon the mountain, but above mountain. And I like how they use the V instead of the U. Nice. For the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. Could have literally just... I mean, I get it. They're doing it for the vibes, but it's like kind of hard to read when there's random letters and words you're not expecting. Or offer there who took the few loaves and the 2 fishes to return to thy father's house. Okay, well, you deciphered it, but now you got to decipher it again. Then ye shall be healed. Return to thy father's house, meaning heaven. So it's asking for a sacrifice, huh? Well, we could stab Sebastiano. It'll be fine. That's what it sounds like to me. Well, in all the other ones, we had to cut ourselves and, like, so we gave the blood sacrifice, kinda. But, like, so if I don't have sex with Dante, I gotta kill someone? Seems a little extreme. Doesn't really give me a lot of choices here. We both looked at the stone tablet. Gil seemed to understand the weight of these words. 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes were used to feed a multitude. Oh, loaves. That's what it was, supposed to 5 loaves. Okay. Yeah, Lord, like, ye old English is not easy. It said that 5,000 were fed, not including women and children. Rude. Of course, it wasn't recorded how many were present in total. The actual number of the crowd would have far exceeded 5,000. My brain hurts. Oh, look, Roberto. Oh, no, we're Marco. Marco, I have information on the body we found. Which one? One that was found in the cell. You're still looking into it? Every time Marco's voice is different. I'm sorry. Yes, I thought you were too, Marco. I know you've been spending every spare moment to investigate the murder. I give him an attitude because that's what I'm used to him talking like. But, like, look at how sweet his little face is right now. Now he's, like, all nice. Now he's a nice little cinnamon bun instead of, like, an angry one, you know?
You sure about this, Robbie? The chief's gonna put you on his list.
Do you even need to ask? I'm only doing what I believe is right. You know as well as anyone that I've been surrounded by enemies since I arrived in Berlone. The victim was an elderly woman who lived in Arca. She had no connections to the Mafia. She was a pious woman who frequented the church. That's about all that stands out. She's the old woman that Orlok helped. How do we not put that two and two together? Like, I mean, I know I said that. Like, an elderly woman. She was crucified because, like, Orlok, like, but I guess she wasn't. He was like, whatever. But, like, Orlok was talking to her. It's probably the elderly woman he helped with groceries. Because otherwise, there's really no point for him to be like, oh, Luca's like, I saw you. And he's like, oh, you mean when I was helping that lady carry her groceries and we had to talk about her? And, like, they're like, oh, yeah, you were helping. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a weird thing to put in the game because it served no purpose unless you think about this. Now it has a purpose.
I see. I read through Roberto's report, then went to give him what I had put together.
This is very thorough.
Hey, this is my hometown, so I know the locals better than you do.
Well done. The body that was found in the barrel was a woman who worked as a florist in Creta. Told you.
Yeah, the body found under the bed of roses behind the church was a prostitute from Veleno.
Again, we knew that. It was Gina. The one at the butcher's was a barman from Arca. None of the victims in the series of murders connect. But the killings seem to have a hidden message. Can't write it all off as random just yet.
Maybe they know something we don't. His response made me realize that he knew I was planning on sharing the info with the Mafia. He's really changed.
And that's why I know everybody who was in love with him from the first game, I feel bad for them that there's no route for him. Because he's changed. He's now back to being an actual little cinnamon bun instead of like just angry, violent, and douchey. Now he's kind of adorable. And then if we got a Roberto route, they'd give us a Leo route, which means they'd give us an Oliver route. That's all I'm banking on. That's all I want. I'm just saying. The actual number of the crowd would have far exceeded 5,000. Our discovery rendered us speechless, and Gil and I could only look at one another in silence. Yeah, because I'm not 100% sure what the hell we have to do here. We have to eat bread, fish bread, and then kill someone? Like, I'm not, like...
Hey, Dante. Sorry, but we need to hold a meeting. Something urgent I need to report.
I was just about to call everyone for a meeting as well. We found another body and another record. Let's get everyone together. Ooh. That was the... I was going to say that was the last thing in Chapter 4. Chapter 5. This is our last chapter. This might be it. We might get our ending. I don't know if we'll get our ending in this part. What do we got, like 30 minutes left or so? 17th of November. I have a feeling this is either going to go really fast from November to December or like take hours. I don't know. Later that night, the Berlone Mafia came together to hold an urgent meeting at a reserved restaurant in Falche. Bird. My bird's jamming himself in my windpipe. Next to the table was a gramophone and a record in its usual glass case. I'm sorry. It kind of tickles a little, and it's really funny to just have a bird head jamming into your esophagus. Try it. I don't recommend it, but anyway.
Base.
With Gil's nod, I began my report on our findings. We found a hidden stone tablet in the archives. It's fucking bizarre. I love you, but that's really weird, buddy. We found a hidden stone tablet in the archives at the library today. On it was information on how to break the seal to the relic, but...
If we take it at face value, it's nigh impossible. It seemed to imply we need more than 5,000 dead.
Gil and I explained to everyone what had been written on the tablet. Should have done like a charcoal carving. You know what I mean? Like the relief, the charcoal rubbing. That's what I'm thinking of. You know, you like go and do like people do that in art classes at like tombs and catacombs in Paris or whatever. You see that on like every show. They're always like, oh, I'm going to do this charcoal work. We should have done that so we could be like, here, somebody who knows how to read Latin, read this. After hearing our report, Yang nodded.
With this town in imminent danger of destruction, it's obvious that we'll need to move the relic. The alternate method you reported makes sense as a last resort.
And considering Burlone's population, well, clearing the criteria by generous estimates would wipe out the town. Nicholas spoke in a calm voice, at which point Yang gave a dismayed sigh.
Oh, horrifying. Oh, it would certainly not be the first instance of biblical massacre. I wonder how your god's head count would measure up compared to Satan's.
Maybe the Phantom knew about this all along, which is why he went to the trouble of purchasing biological weapons. If we don't deliver the relic to him by this deadline, he'll handle the situation himself. He probably didn't expect us to quietly hand over the relic in the first place. Which means he never cared all along. If so, the fact that he used Christmas as a deadline was merely a sarcastic gesture.
Sacrificing the masses to your god on a holy day. He has exquisite taste.
Yang's like, if he doesn't get over the Direttore, I'm gonna make him, because I think Yang's a little bit in love with him right now. Yeah, but there's no assurance that what we found will really break the seal to the relic. For all we know, it could just be a metaphor. But it's the Phantom. Surprised if he'd kill more than 5,000 for a simple story. That was very possible based on his actions thus far. Dante spoke in a serious voice. About the new body we found. I was to have dinner with a local politician and his wife, the Routinis. They didn't show up at the appointed time, so I returned to the manor where I received a report from Marco that they were found dead. They appear to have been killed in their bedroom. The councilman's body was discovered in one piece, but his wife... I suddenly couldn't breathe. I mean, the Phantom is a thing out for women because he's always massacring them. I mean, more than... He's killed one dude, but I'm just saying. Marco was there and said that her body was likely mutilated to represent the Falzone family crest. The twin-headed eagle. That doesn't sound pleasant. I don't think I want to know. Like, I think I need to know because what I'm imagining is horrifying, and I want to know, is it as horrifying or less so? Because I feel like if they told you and you're like, oh, I was imagining it being so much worse, thank God. You know what I mean? Like, because nightmare fuel right now.
I see. Their murders seem in line with the others, giving us no time to prevent it.
You're right. As Yang mentioned, we didn't receive any word that warned us of the next killing. Sorry. I can't explain it, but we have another record now that was found near the body. Here it is. Dante looked at the record and then the gramophone. I just, again, still love the fact that somebody's lugging this fucking record player around. We also gained new information from Marco. It looks like he found out who the victims were. And the details are in here. Nicola passed out copies of the police report. The body found in the wine barrel belonged to Elenia Droeto? A florist in Creta. Elenia, yeah. Droeto? The body found under the bed of roses behind the church belonged to Gina Berthet, a prostitute from Veleno. The body dressed in military attire was, as Nicola guessed, Edmondo Tononi, a barman from Arca. The body that was affixed to the wall at the police station was Tosca Malini, an elderly woman, also from Arca. The report contained pictures of them along with detailed information on their backgrounds. I see. Malini, Aww, look at Gilly, looks so sad. Aww. I believe this elderly lady is the same one I've seen many times around the church. He targeted those we knew or had some degree of contact with. Yes, I'm acquainted with the elderly woman as well. Feels like only yesterday that I saw her walking down the street in good health. But you all have closer friends and relatives apart from the victims here. Why were these people targeted? Yang responded nonchalantly to my question.
As I've said before, Alicia listened to the record. Perhaps it contains the information we're looking for.
Or the fact that, yes, they have closer relatives, but these are people that he saw them talking to. So it's kind of like, I was there when you talk. Like, Gina came on, hit on Yang, Sebastiano was there, right? So Nicholas stopped at the bar, he was there. So every time, or like when Gil went to the florist shop, he was there. That's at least the impression I'm getting is like, it's one of those like, wait, I went to the flower shop on Tuesday and wait, the Phantom was there. Someone was there. You know what I mean? It's almost like, oh yeah, you remember the last time you talked to them? And they're like, oh, we've actually all talked to these people sometime in the last like few months. Oh, Phantom was there when you were talking to those people. Just think about it. When you go to the store, even you're like, oh yeah, I go to my local convenience store and Tom's there behind there and I always talk to him. Yeah, but do you see all the other people? No, you probably don't notice. And then if Tom ended up dead and it was like somebody was there that last time you talked to Tom, you're like, I don't know who was there. There's random people. But you never know who the fuck is stalking you in the shadows. It's fucking creepy if you think about it. Right. Nicola nodded, taking out the record out of it. Wow. Taking the record out of its glass case and setting it onto the gramophone. That's not me. They just literally put out in there twice. The 10th record slowly began to spin.
Good day, Space. I do hope my absence has not made you feel lonely. Forgive me for not providing any clues this time, but you see, as one was a councilman, I was certain the news would travel quickly. I'm beside myself at the thought that you've all been anxiously awaiting my next record. My apologies for betraying your expectations. I suppose I need not explain much this time around, seeing as how the medium was the message. And that aside, it seems you've arrived at my true identity at last. Why, yes, you have the correct answer. A hearty congratulations.
I love the fact. Like, again, part of me is like, I slightly disappointed it's not Henry because it would have fit really well. But I do kind of feel like the more I think about it, if it had been Henry, even though it fit perfectly, it's like, well, but then we got to romance Henry next, and that might kind of, if you weren't already spoiled on Henry, like, I don't know, all the other things he did, if that didn't sour you on him, this definitely would, and I feel like it might take away from the character that you played in the first game, and then, but it is weird that it's now a whole new side character, but the whole thing that, like, oh, wait, like, but tying it in with, like, you killed Henry, and, like, what, I guess, at least what they did with it, it's not just a random person, it's like, well, Henry took over Sebastiano's identity, and was basically pretending to be him, and then now Sebastiano has some kind of weird fucking affinity for, and, like, that's some kind of weird, crazy fucking shit! And it's like, whoa, I'm here for it, though, so, yeah, I mean,
But please do continue calling me by the name Phantom. After all, I've already given away my former name, Sebastiano Gallier. To whom, you ask? Why, the poor and beautiful soul known as Henry Lambert, of course.
And it is weird now that we're still reading it as if we're... it's, again, whatever way I had gone with it, if I had been like, no, we'll give it a whole new voice, it would have been like, it is Henry! Son of a bitch. But, like, I guess I should have just... Well, they throw you off, and, you don't know the voice to give it when you're doing... I mean, that's why you're supposed to play with the voice acting, so you know what he sounds like, and you know he doesn't sound like Henry, but... Or maybe you'd be like, it's kind of similar, I can't really tell, unless you compared, but... Anyway, again, we're just gonna go with he's putting on the Henry persona because he was really, really freaking in love with him or some weird shit. Like, I'm here for it.
I'm sure you're all curious as to his whereabouts, so allow me to share that he is dead. Yes, as a doornail. I've no right to be surprised or lament his death. After all, you're the ones who killed him.
That's so sad. Everyone else is alive in this.
And there's a secret underground passage beneath the casino, and I followed a trail of blood to where he lay. He must have been a wretched sight as he crawled through, all in the name of hiding his corpse. He used up every last drop of his life. Which is why I found him for you. My beautiful Henry was but a shadow of his former self. To think that he was... What should I do? I finally captured him after all this time.
Gil lifted the needle from the record. Mind if I say something?
Go ahead.
This guy's a real creep. I mean, yeah.
I think
We're all in agreement of that. Still, I could see why Gil needed to say it now. My heart felt heavy with emotion.
enjoy that hatred while you can. You'll all perish. It will come. It must.
It's really hard now when they flip back to Henry that now my voice sounds the same, so you don't know what's going on. So bad. So he really died. If he were still alive, he'd have continued to seek vengeance against the Burlone Mafia. Maybe he couldn't be saved, but it hurt knowing that the last moments of his life could be so heartbreaking. Aww, we're such a good little nugget. Gil exhaled, then dropped the needle back down onto the record. I mean, if you think about it, we really are the Scooby Gang because the Phantom is literally just Sebastiano Gallier in a mask. Literally just a man in the mask. And even the last game, Torre was like the freaking kind of antagonist behind the scenes, overarching, and he was also just a man in a mask. So.
But I should return to the topic at hand. I must tell you how I've been amusing myself while in town. I'm not sufficiently stimulated through mere warnings and records, I found a few playmates with whom I've passed the time. It's quite disheartening that none of you have noticed the others, but of course I've chosen my prey according to my ever-changing fancies.
I'm going to tone down the Henry so that, like, if Henry pops back in, like the Torre, he'll be more dramatic, and then we'll slowly, like... He's still going to be almost... It's going to now be a cross between, like, Henry and Raoul, you know what I mean? But whatever.
Of course, that also means there was no way you could have prevented any of it. The poor souls, suffering such miserable deaths simply because they lived in a town ruled by the Burlone Mafia. You may remember that I myself no longer have a family, but I do hate to live alone, so I became friendly with other families in town. The process was wonderfully easy. I simply walked in and asked them to treat me as their son. I did enjoy myself very much. Unfortunately, I had to discard my last family while I was still playing with them. Signor Redford was quite no-nonsense about the matter. It seems I'm no different from a child who leaves out his toys instead of properly putting them away. Do forgive me once again. That's right. How have you been faring? Does your wound still hurt? I've never been shot before, so I can only imagine.
I kind of love him. He's a little overdramatic, and it's fun. This time, Nicola lifted the needle to stop the playback, turning to Gil seriously. Gilbert, I don't recall hearing a report about this. Would you mind sharing with us? Gil glanced at me, then nodded before speaking. Kid asked us for help at the plaza in Arca. Something about a guy forcing himself into his home, saying he'd kill them if they didn't obey him. I found the guy and gave chase, but he shot me. That's about it. In any case, I'm still kicking. Is your shoulder right? I can tell by the way you're moving. You should let it heal properly. Forcing it will only worsen your condition. Gil, are you sure you're all right? I hadn't noticed how guarded he was with his shoulder now until Orlok mentioned it. He dismissed it so easily when it happened, as if it had only been a graze. Yeah, I'm good. I'm following the doctor's orders. Let's get back on track, shall we? Oh my god! The bullet was coated in smallpox. Thanks a lot, Gil. You killed us all. Gil smiled, then placed the needle on the record again.
Now then, it saddens me to report that this will be the last record you receive from me. And now that you've discovered my identity, you must deliver the relic to me as we discussed. You do remember our deal, don't you? It seems you all have been terribly busy with learning my name, but that alone will not bring an end to the story. Speaking my true name aloud will not cause me to run away angrily and never come back, nor will I tear myself into two from a fit of rage. You all know who I am now. You also know how to break the seal to the relic. All that's left now is finding me. That being said, I do not believe you'll break the seal so obediently. After all, you could have easily done so from the start. And that's perfectly fine. I fully expected that to be the case. Therefore, I'll take care of the seal myself. But no doubt you're all eager to meet me. You want to know where I am, yes? I'm certain you do. But it's a secret. Why haven't I given you more than enough pieces of the puzzle already? I've been giving so freely all this time, so the time's now come for me to receive. Of course, I am addressing you, Space. I've prepared information regarding the location of my atelier. Atelier? Yeah, whatever. And included it in my 11th record. It's been entrusted to a certain someone, and the person is awaiting your arrival at the root of the tree from which I have sprung. You must go and retrieve it yourself. Should anyone else do so in your place, I'll have the record destroyed at once. Listen to my voice once again and follow it until you've reached me. At that point, we shall finally become real friends. Remember, one cannot build a healthy relationship unless both sides give to each other. I want you, and everyone else, too, and everyone, too, to seek me out with all your hearts. Are you all ready to begin? If you wish to obtain the 11th record, I then embark on a journey to Chicago. It was there that I made quite the impression while managing my speakeasy business. You see, it was the buzz I generated that allowed me to become acquainted with both the mafia in Chicago as well as in Berlin. With that, the message came to an end, and Nicola let out a deep sigh. So he wants her, does he? We can't ever go there on our own. I'll accompany her either. There's no telling what the Phantom will do to the town if we're gone. As silence settled over us, Gil began to speak. I'll go. I know my way around, including where to find the Phantom speakeasy. Are we traveling to America? This is not how I expected this to go. I'll protect you, so don't you worry. Thank you, Gil. And so, Gil and I departed for the long journey to Chicago. We really are going to Chicago! What the fuck? This is weird. All this for another clue leading to the Phantom. I mean, it's not like we could write him a letter and be like, yo, bro, you want me to get on a freaking boat, go all the way to fucking America, to then come back before Christmas? Well, this is why November 17th is today, and then it was the first time I had ever left Italy. What if I didn't have a passport? Do you need passports in 1926? I don't know. But, like, right now, if this shit happened, I'd be like, I don't have a passport. It's gonna take me, like, months for that. It took a long time to get to Chicago by ship. I fucking bet. The new scenery and life on the ship was tough, but exciting at the same time. I gazed far into the horizon across the vast ocean as I stood on the deck, breathing in the salty sea air. Having fun, Space? I know I shouldn't be having fun right now, but I couldn't help myself. I suppose you can see right through me. My heart pounded with excitement at the idea that I was traveling across the Atlantic Ocean. I'm going to assume Gil goes with you every time. I had heard of recent successful transatlantic flights and longed to fly myself someday. Then again, travel of any sort was dangerous. I mean, look at this is where we're going. Look at how far we're going! Oh my god. Gil wanted to make sure we traveled on a liner that was known to be safe. Our first destination after leaving Berlin was Rome. From there we went to France, then to England. This is this is awesome! This is like a honeymoon, but like also, people are gonna die. Well, not really. He's like, nah, I'm not gonna kill anyone now, but... And now we were on our way to New York. Once there, we'd take a train to Chicago. I wish they put in... I mean, you're gonna figure out how long it takes when they pop up the next thing and it's fucking December. Gonna be a long way, so might as well enjoy it. Hey, look at the time. We better head down and get something to eat. Right. I'm gonna guess that, like, Gil comes with us every time. You know, because, I mean, it makes sense. This is his home turf, you know? And now, after 5 days of travel by ship, Gil and I finally landed on American soil. It only takes 5 days? That's pretty fast. I don't know why I was just thinking it would take longer. In 1926? Just saying. We boarded the earliest train the next morning and arrived in Chicago the following morning. I like how they wrote that in Italian. Like,
Like, the America thing, like, whatever, was in Italian, because you're like, that wasn't right. And I'm gonna say, we really need, like, Piofiore coming to America, because, like, we have a Chicago background. I'm just saying. Everybody moves here. You know? The streets were full of buildings so tall that I found myself looking up at the sky. It was completely different from Berlin. Even if we head to the Phantom's old speakeasy now, it'll still be a while until it opens. We should be able to kill a bit of time. Yeah, that's right. How about the Lincoln Park Zoo? A zoo? I'd be like, I'm sorry. If we weren't gonna get here this early, we should have stopped in New York for some real fucking pizza, not come to Chicago for that bullshit. Okay? Fuck that crap. New York pizza is the real pizza, right? So I'm just saying. My voice rose excitedly as we had no zoos in Berlin. But oh, that's true. You've never even left Berlin. Did she ever go to Rome in this? I mean, I know other routes and stuff, but I don't think she's ever in this thing even left the fucking city. You and all of New England, girl. Most of you people never leave places. I swear to God, the weirdest shit living there. It's not even like I live in my area. It's like you never left the town that you lived in. You were born here, and you live there. You know, there's other towns in the state. You know, there's other states. New England's like pretty small. You could travel all those states in like an hour. It's not. Except for Maine, because there's only one road going in and out. I'm just being sarcastic, but like seriously. And then you never left the town. You born in that town, grew up in that town, and died in that town. Like seriously, like it's okay to move to the next town over. It's all right. You're not gonna die. It's just weird. I just noticed it more like when I lived in New England that people were like that. I think there's people like that all over the place. And it's different when you're like, well, the town is like freaking 80 bazillion miles and nothing. Well, yeah, okay, I understand it's not that easy to go. But like, when you live someplace like New England again, like, I don't know, it's just like, it doesn't take that long to get through the whole entire state of Massachusetts, for fuck's sake. Like, people used to be like, lived in New Hampshire, worked in Rhode Island, for fuck's sake. So like, you could never leave the town you were born in, but you could travel 3 states to go to work? Like, fucking weird. Anyway, we can also go to the Art Institute of Chicago. There's also the Cultural Center, where we can have a look at the largest Tiffany glass dome. I think you'd really like it. Is there a place you wanted to go first? We don't get any choices, so. There was one place on my mind. We go to the place where you grew up. Gil chuckled and shrugged. Not the nicest or safest place to visit, and definitely not the first place I'd bring a signorina, but... Well, I guess we can go have a quick look. Be honest, I'm honored that you'd even ask. I'm wondering if we go with a different person each time. Or, like, because it's weird, like, if we're not dating... Or maybe Chapter 5 is always different. Even if the plotline is different. Because you know what I mean? We'll see. Sometime later, Gil and I were walking down the street where he had lived throughout his childhood. Because it's weird if you're, like, dating Dante or you're going to fall in love with Dante. You're like, hey, Gil, let me go see where you grew up. I mean, you might do that with your friends, but it just seems a little personal, you know? I always thought of America as a faraway land, but I found myself here, walking beside Gil just like we did back in Berlin. Maybe that was why the area felt like home, despite everything being new to me. After nightfall, we finally arrived at the speakeasy. Gil had made contact with the Chicago Mafia, who currently owned the place. Upon our arrival, a man came walking out from the back. I mean, it makes sense that this would be the same for everything, you know? This is from the Phantom. But he sounded like Gil, wow. He handed us a glass case with a record inside. What do you know about the Phantom? Nothing. I'm only doing this 'cause he paid me. So is that his friend there? Nah, she's not. What did he just say? He used to talk a lot about a friend of his in Italy. Might have been last year. He said he'd go and visit once his friend wasn't so busy. Well, he was a bit of a screwy guy, but at least he pays good. Not a bad guy to do business with. Of course, I like how she's like, what did he say? Yeah, of course we don't understand. He's speaking English. Okay. We left the speakeasy right after getting the record, and Gil explained to me what happened. I wondered if he was talking about the Direttore. Last year was when we had the counterfeit incident. So, when he was talking about his friend being busy, Probably meant once the Direttore finished taking care of us in the Berlin Mafia. Same thought had occurred to me as well. But the Direttore died, and he never did get to see him alive. I didn't know what the Phantom was thinking. Maybe there would be a hint in the record, not only about his studio, but also his motives. After another long journey, we returned to Berlin well into December. I mean, it's like 2 weeks to get a record! Seriously, it was at least 6 days to get there. It's like, at night, we all gathered at a hotel room. This is probably not the best time to start this because we only have a few minutes left, and this is one of those parts where they do the thing and the record and it's going to go on for 20 minutes, so, but whatever. Sorry, we're late, guys. Oh, considering that you traveled from Italy to America and back, it's only natural. On the record. We got it right here. Time for a listen. You know what would suck? You had been on a cruise liner like, well, the boat sank. We're alive, but they lost the record. They didn't understand why we were trying to cling so desperately to it. I could only hold on to the door or the record that we were flying. The record slowly began to spin as everyone in the room waited for the Phantom's voice. Could you imagine going through all that to come back and it got lost or something, or like it got broken and boat sank? You know.
Once upon a time, I set up my base of operations in what was to become the center of the world, the city of Chicago in America.
Okay. Chicago is the center of the world. Okay.
While I had avoided death, I had lasting scars. By the time I fully recovered my mind and body, I had lost my name, my position, everything. In order to rebuild, I decided to make a bet. One that wagered my very life as a chip. It was quite invigorating. I do hope you have a chance to experience the pleasure. And now then, I must thank you for spending all your precious time to seek me out. I'm truly honored and so very grateful indeed. As you know, my name is the Phantom now. I'm what remains of Sebastiano Gallier. My ultimate goal is to perform the greatest miracle. To resurrect Henry Lambert.
I mean, okay, can you this is actually kind of I need the relic to bring my boyfriend back to life. This is kind of sweet and romantic, and I'm a little here for it. Like, we're gonna deny him this? It's just rude of us. It's like the love story. It's the strangest love story ever.
But even if I do get a hold of the relic, will a miracle really take place? The Iron Crown did nothing to improve the situation whatsoever.
Do you have Henry's body still? Because it's been like a year. How are you going to resurrect somebody without the body? Oh no. Oh God.
God, whom I've read so much about, seems to be far more adept at taking lives than saving them. I cannot say I'm too hopeful now. However, I can vent my frustrations by exposing the Church's secrets and bringing them down once and for all. Oh, but if the Church loses its power, then by extension, the Berlin Mafia will as well. And there will be no one left to protect you. I suppose there's no other way around it. You must all pay for what you've done to my beloved. Ah, but in the unlikely event he does come back to life, I would have no need to shame the Church. Their existence means little to me. And now then, it's time for what you've all been waiting for. I shall now tell you the location of my atelier. My castle is my sanctuary, a place upon which none shall lay their eyes, nor ask its name. But you're all my friends now. I wish to extend an invitation to you all. My atelier is no cemetery or chapel, sorry. It's made of steel and not stone. Not a deity's grotto, but an arrangement of curiosities. It's not a political stronghold, nor a military fortress, nor is it equipped with a false throne. A castle of debauchery and dreams.
Okay, I'm here for a castle of debauchery and dreams. That sounds... You know what? I'm sorry, Phantom, are you in the man harem? I don't recall letting you in. Are you living in the attic? Because a castle of debauchery and dreams is literally like, I'm taking that. I'm stealing that from you. Because that is like just the tagline for the man harem now. Hello. That is the perfect descriptor.
I do hope you all come to visit me soon. And the deadline is the same as ever. The first Mass of Christmas Day. Fail me, and this town will perish. It's then that my black and white pawns shall herald my very own sacred war. Expendable pieces, for I doubt they're as skilled in battle as you all are, but I pray you keep your guard up nonetheless. Why, you ask? Pawns can be promoted. And now, dears, until next time, I do look forward to the day we can finally meet face to face.
I do too. I need to get a load of this. As the message ended, Yang's shoulders began to shake with laughter. Anyway.
So he really is trying to resurrect Lambert. How utterly ridiculous.
Wouldn't it be kind of funny if it worked, though? You'd be like, we played this whole fucking game and now there's miracle? What the shit? The way you said it suggested that he had a suspicion somewhere in his mind before. Listen, the man's heartbroken and he wants to bring his boyfriend back. This is pretty sweet. I kind of want it to work out for him. I do. I want to see what happens. I mean, the sad part is like, Henry is one of our love interests. But like, okay, listen. I know I'm always like, my love interest or my side piece is Oliver. Do not get to have girlfriends because they're my side pieces. Nuh-uh. I'm not sharing. But like this, it's like, you know what, Henry, if you got resurrected and felt, I'd be okay with that. Like, listen. Like, I don't want to share him with another woman. If I got to share him with each other, that's fine. Whatever. I'm okay with that. I mean, I'm just saying. I've given up one side piece before because it was like, oh, okay, he's got the girl and he's cute. Fine. All right, fine. I'll let him go. But like, I'm not letting Oliver go over my cold dead body, okay? And even then, I'm going to get resurrected and kick the bitch's ass who tries to take Oliver from me. I'm just throwing that out there. Anyway.
Even if he doesn't harbor sincere expectations about the outcome, I've been toyed with all along over some foolish, lovelorn desire.
Yeah, but you know how adorably cute this is, though? This kind of romantic. It's like just tragic and sad and messed up. Like the Phantom, everything he's done. But like the underlying reason is kind of sweet. The Phantom's desire. I really had nothing to say.
Supposed to be hints about his workshop. I didn't understand what he said.
Me neither. Don't tell me that's the Phantom's way of giving us directions. We don't have much time until Christmas. We need to figure it out. Did anyone else think he was referencing a play? Talking about pawns in black and white. He made mention of not asking its name. It sounds like something from Lohengrin? Lohengrin? Anyway. An opera by Richard Wagner. It's the last of what's known as the Romantische opera set. Set in Antwerpen? Okay. It's too many words I can't pronounce. Anyway, Antwerpen? Something. In the first half of the 10th century, it's known to have been the favorite of King Ludwig II of Bavaria. The son of Percival, one of King Arthur's knights of the Round Table, Knight of the Swan. There are countless stories involving a true name being revealed and losing one's power. Right. I suppose we can't assume anything at this point. Even Lohengrin or Lohengrin? I'm not sure if you're supposed to enunciate all the letters. Anyway, and there's Swan Lake, which shares commonalities. We need to figure out which of these the Phantom would want to reference. Lohengrin, Swan Lake. A sudden thought popped into my head. Neuschwanstein? What about Neuschwanstein Castle? I can't pronounce that, sorry. Neuschwanstein something. Okay. The castle in Germany? We gotta go to Germany now? This motherfucker's taking us everywhere! Yes, it fits in with the story of Lohengrin. Neuschwanstein? I'm just gonna go with that because I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, castle. Oh, sorry. A castle located near southwest Bavaria, Germany. It was built in the 19th century by King Ludwig II of Bavaria. It was a popular tourist destination, a place that I had long wished to visit myself. I see. Neuschwanstein Castle was built by a king who admired Wagner for writing Lohengrin. I even heard the king was enamored with the idea of the authentic style befitting of knights. Of an authentic style, sorry. Yes. And the king commissioned the set designer from the opera himself. Stage designer, the German architect and painter, Christian. Well, it's not Jank. I know it's probably Junk. I don't know. I'm not sure. Known for his work on set stages or stage sets. Wow, there's too many words in here I can't read. Now that you mention it, it really wasn't a castle for politicians or the military. It was imagined by some guy who loved the theater. And he said a castle, so seems like the place the Phantom would live. He did say the castle of debauchery and dreams. And a castle built by stage people who were into the theater and everything. That's okay. Castle doesn't have a chapel inside either, but a small grotto instead. It was built around that opera, though, through and through. Castle of Dreams, like he said. Debauchery and dreams, Gil. Get it right. It's built on a rock ledge surrounded by forest with a lake just below. In a way, it's similar elements to Brelone.
I see. And by similar, you mean just the forest that surrounds it? Taking the lake or sea by a generous stretch.
Maybe. Place with water nearby. Maybe not only natural rivers or lakes or oceans. Best we start looking around water sources any kind. Should all be careful. Oh, one other thing. Since he mentioned pawns, would chess be involved somehow? I kept thinking about chess because he said black and white pawns, and that was the first thing that popped into my head. Yes, he did say black and white, so he must have wanted us to make the connection. Black and white. I'll have 16 per side. Could it be that he has 16 accomplices? You mean to spread the smallpox? I've recalled an earlier conversation. Heck, all he needs to do is infect a single living creature and have them spread it around. Worse would be if he poisoned the water. In any case, Christmas Mass would do the trick if he decided to strike then.
And his sacred war. I believe that also must be another cryptic message.
I'm not sure, but that is a bit of a concern. I'll research it further. It may give us a lead. Thank you, Nicola. Yang looked around at everyone in the room. Seeing everyone was quiet, he spoke again.
This is all the information we know at this point.
Yes, she continues searching and meet again as soon as possible. Face, be sure to get a good night's sleep. Thank you, Gil. Okay, and now we're going to wrap it up. No, not with the information with the record. No, you shush, we're done. Because, we'll start that. We're only a little over, but those parts usually end up, it's like 20 minutes later or so. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this part up here. Maybe we'll get our ending in the next part, because we lost a couple of weeks going to America and shit like that. So, I was like, wasn't necessarily sure we'd get our part, but we're like in this part, because I was like, we had a half an hour. I'm like, but possibly next time, but we'll see. I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.